Okay, there you go. Hi. We are the leader and co-leader of the Crypto and Security Tech Squad. Hi, I'm Jurjen Bos. Proud to be expert cryptographer. For all your cryptography questions, you know where to find me now. As I already introduced myself, I will now give the floor to Sarah, who can do her half. Here you go, Sarah.
So, I'm Sarah Mourad. I work for GRS department, which is a transversal department that provides a lot of best practices and tools that are used by our developers within the company. And today my current role is Security Champions Leader. So I lead the community of security champions to improve and enhance security practices on the developer side. So, what's the deal with passwords? The title might be a bit shocking for security experts that are in this room. What I want to say here is that passwords are not wrong, okay? They are useful for a lot of reasons. But in the user's experience perspective, they are really complex to deal with. So, as you saw during the pitch and the teasing sessions that we had this morning, and by the way, please vote for us, the passwords today need to be very, very complex in order to ensure high security. And personally, I had this kind of situation. I don't know about you, but I sometimes have to put my password again and again and again, and when I try to reset it, it tells me that I shouldn't use the old password. So at some point, I did use the right one. We have people, well, the common folks out there. So we are all techies in this room, I hope. But the common folks don't really bother to store, well, the passwords using a password manager. So most of us here use password manager, and that's really good. But when you go, for example, here it's a photo. I don't know if you recognize the man here. It's Prince William, who is now the crown prince for the British crown. And he visited, I think, in early 2010, the British Army, the Air Force Army, and they had this photo that was taken when he had the visit. And you can see right there on the wall, there is password login. So this is a username password. So this is not the highest resolution I could find, but trust me, with these logins, you could actually access to the Milflip account. And Milflip is an interface that allows pilots to manage and prepare for their flight, well, path they want to do. Another case of a perfect way to get hacked. So we have here an interview that was done for a media company that's called TV5 Monde. So if you know TV5 Monde, they had a very strange well, experience with an interview that was done years before. And you can see here that right behind the person that was interviewed, you can see in a very low resolution that we have here the access to the YouTube and Instagram, and also on the top it's cropped, but it's the Twitter account access. So after this, we have in BFM TV, well, breaking news, we have a cyber attack not seen before on TV5 Monde, but it's actually a very dumb way to get hacked, as seen here, because they actually called for it. It was right there on the wall. So besides, well, what is commonly done by, well, common users that are not near the tech world that we are all familiar with, we have the, how do I say it? We are used to use password managers, and that's a good thing because it's actually easy to use, it's cross-platform, and actually helps you generate very high, complex, and strong passwords for you. But then there is also something wrong with password managers because in the end, you have to deal with the master password at some point. So who here has a very strong and complex master password? I didn't raise my... Yeah, it's good. And raise your hand if you reset your highly complex and strong password each 3 months. Okay, so we have our answers here. So the same constraint that we normally expect for classic password should be applied to the master password also. But even us tech folks, we don't do that. And regarding password managers, we had a bad media recently regarding LastPass. So it's a very well-known password manager that is used widely on the world. Same for KeePass. So yeah, we have the first thing that is, I don't say wrong with password managers, but makes it really not that safe to use, because in the end, you will find yourself having to put your master password in a post-it somewhere or in a piece of paper so you can access it whenever you need. And that's not really what we expect as security for your passwords. So before we go deeper on what we need to, well, the passwordless authentication, I suggest we go maybe a step back and check the history of authentication and how it evolved within our history. So I will give the mic to Jurjen.
Thank you, Sarah. So yeah, the history of passwords was a lot more interesting to research than I expected. It all started somewhere just before the 80s, when there were, basically the password file was an actual file with actual passwords in it and usernames, and there was somebody editing them. So you went into his office, you said, yeah, I'd like to change my password, and you told them your password, and he would type that in the file. And then you had a new password. And it worked. But the problem was that the operating system at that time was not that sophisticated. And this guy was editing, they were probably all guys then. Anyway, so he was editing the password file, and someone else was editing the so-called message of the day. You remember, and some operating systems have it nowadays, you have to message. And the operating system confused the two files and saved the password file as message of the day. So then when you logged in, you saw everybody's password. So that needed to be fixed. So then, this is all still happening in the 80s. They started improving it. First, they thought of a one-way function solution. And this is so long ago that there was no, say, digital encryption system. So what they did is they took the design of a mechanical encryption, the Hagelin M5 to be exact, copied that in software and used that as a one-way function. And then, well, that worked, but then people chose still bad passwords. So they had a random password generator. But there was a small problem. That's their random generator had only 15 bits resolution, which means you have only 32,000 passwords. So somebody wrote a script to try them all out, and so you could easily break everybody's password. So that got fixed. One of the things they fixed then was DES was invented. So they immediately applied that instead of the rotor encryption system. And somebody wrote a script to give password quality hints. They started, instead of using DES as a one-way function, actually a salted hash. And then the last improvement that they did was, instead of first checking the username and then checking the password, they checked them both together so that somebody measuring the time couldn't break into the system. And now we are at 1983. And then the first passwordless systems began. And many of you might have used rlogin, rshelf, RCP from the old days. They had a system where you had a private key on your own computer and a public key on the other computer, and it used a challenge response protocol. We'll get into that a little bit later because it will come back. Anyway, that worked great. But remember, this is still a long time ago, so the computers were not fast enough to do proper encryption. We had to wait for that until 1995. And there was also another invention in 1995. Does anybody remember? There's this thing called the internet. So then things you got websites and stuff, and each of those websites had passwords, and for some reason the whole system of all the clever rlogin stuff didn't work there. So there were zillions of places with zillions of passwords. AT&T, well, they have the first patent. I cannot say that they invented multi-factor authentication, but at least they have the patent on it. So that's happened in 1998, and it was not very popular, but that happens with patents. I mean, you have to wait some time. Then in 2008, a lady called Stina from Finland invented a very nice little thingy. You pressed a button on it and it simulated a keyboard and it spit out a very ugly random string, but you could use as your super powerful password. It was pretty popular and after that, thank you. The company became big, is Yubico, and probably some of you people have Yubico device. I see some hands here, indeed. And now we are here. And if you hear this story, you think, wait a minute, how long ago was this passwordless authentication already invented? Well, let me fix the time scale resolutions for you. It is 4 years and it looks like this on the proper scale. Isn't that horrible? Why are we giving the presentation now and not 40 years ago? Anyway, so yeah, this feels sort of wrong. Anyway, I'll take a few things from this presentation, from this whole historic thing, and make them in a little bit more detail. One of them is the multi-factor authentication. Let's see, I've hit this cool thing here. You know the whole three: what you know, what you have, what you are. Nowadays, everybody has either an internet connection or some global GPS location. So location is something that you can actually use. So this is something that you can consider also as useful information. And another thing that I see coming is that the biometry is going to improve thanks to the brain interface. It's not a joke anymore. You can actually buy them. And I saw recently a TED presentation by some handicapped person who used the brain interface to control his wheelchair. It's actually there. So I'll skip that one for a second. I'll come back to it later. The disadvantages of multi-factor authentication is well known if you study the Dropbox problem. Dropbox they use CI/CD, that's all the hype nowadays. And this CI/CD system then checks your scripts, and if there's something wrong with it, they send you an email. And sometimes you have to log in, so you use your second factor. So that what the fraudsters found out is that they can send you fake CI/CD emails, trust you to use your second factor. That's what we call MFA fatigue, and they're in. And yeah, they found that out the hard way. Back to this slide that I skipped for you, and I'll come back to now. One very important thing about the way that passwordless authentication works is that there's a decoupling. You have on the one side, it's you and your device. There's biometry in there or whatever you have, and maybe your master password. And on the other side, your device does the authentication to whoever are the different. There's a nice word for that. I always forget that. It's not the service, but the relying party. Yeah, that's the word. Thank you, Sarah. And so those relying parties all talk to your device, but each of them gets a different key. So there's separation there that is very useful. Okay, there we go back to two different ways of doing the authentication towards the relying party. This is the old-fashioned way. This is actually, yeah, I forgot to bring it with me. I wanted to show the real thing, but I took this picture a few days ago. This one's 10 years old and it still gives you the digits. This is based on, well, basic standard symmetric cryptography. So there's a key here and there's a key in the server. So that means that the server still basically stores, it's not your password, but it's your key. The better way, and that's the one we are going to talk to for the rest of the talk, is the asymmetric way, where you have a private key, server has the public key, and there's a challenge response protocol going on. And Sarah will go into the details of how this will actually work. Here you go, Sarah.
Thank you. So let's dive into details, and what we are going to start to talk about from now on that will help us deal with passwordless authentication is what we call passkeys. So yeah, forget now about passwords and remember passkeys. So what are passkeys? So it's a secret that is stored in your device that you have, so either a card, a phone, or a key, and unlocked with the biometric, which defines who you are. So your fingerprint, your face, your behavior, or even your brainwaves if you want. And today we have a standard that has been set up with W3C, so the World Wide Web Consortium, and the FIDO Alliance. So they set up a standard that describes how this cryptographic key web authentication works. And if you want to understand, because from now on we are going to start to talk really technical stuff, so please focus with me. So, first actor, we have the authenticator. So the authenticator is the hardware-based token that proves to the client who you really are, and basically it's related to something that you own. So either the authenticator, is in your phone, in your card, or whatever thing that you have. Next actor we have is the client. So the client is the web browser or the operating system that will be the middle man between you and the relying party. So the relying party is the software service that wants to authenticate you. And we as developers, we develop web applications. So we need to deal with the relying party from now on if you want to handle the passkeys. And the protocols that I just mentioned, the one that is very important for us is the web authentication that is here, which describes the communication between the client, so the browser or the operating system, and the relying party. And all the protocols that are here are already used today to handle the MFA classic using the password and biometrics. So, wow. Focus. So this is the schema that describes how the registration flow works. So the registration flow is the first time you will set up your passkeys in order to authenticate to a web application, so a relying party. So first step, you have the challenge, so the famous challenge that will be generated by the relying party server. This challenge is important because that's the one that's going to be sent through the browser with the web authentication API here, and will be received by the authenticator. And the authenticator will receive all these, well, the challenge, and also the information that are related to the relying party and the user information. So when you are here as a user, so you're behind the authenticator, you will provide and verify with your own biometrics that you are who you are supposed to be. And also, the authenticator will generate a new key pair. So it will generate a private key and a public key at this step, and also sign the whole thing with the challenge, so that it will send back to the relying party through the browser using the web authentication API here. So I will go through very quickly because there are a lot of stuff. But yeah, if you want to understand more in the details on how this works, I really recommend that you go read the standard documentation that is provided by W3C that is accessible to anybody. But what you want to, and what is the essential part here is that we have a challenge, we have a relying party ID, a new key pair that is generated by the authenticator, and everything is being communicated through the browser with the web authentication API. And in the end, when the relying party receives the new key pair, so only the public key, okay, it will then validate the whole thing, so verify that the challenge that it has sent in the beginning is the same as what has been received, and also verify the signature of the attestation it has received. Oof, finally. So, now we will describe the authentication flow. So I won't go to the details just as I did, because you saw it's not that easy to explain. But again, we see the same stuff that we have seen during the registration flow, a challenge, verification here by the authenticator, but here you have nothing that is generated because the authenticator already has the private key on its side, and it will just make an assertion, so it will sign the whole thing that has been sent to it throughout the browser with the web authentication API, and send it back to the relying party server so that it verifies the signature using the public key that is stored on the server side. Thank you. It's not yet the end.
So I will make a quick recap of what we just said. It has three big advantages. One of them, it's breach resistant. If somebody breaks into the server, there are no private keys in there. So there's no breach. So the server doesn't have to keep any secrets. So it's a very simple solution. Second is Jurjen pressing the wrong button because he's holding it upside down. Yeah, very interesting. Okay. Phishing resistant in the sense that this is what cryptographers like to call with the nice word a zero knowledge protocol. That means if you tap the communication between the two parties, you get nothing. You've seen that the authentication worked, but you cannot replay that because you will get a different challenge from the server. So you don't have to worry that much. And the last big advantage, of course, is privacy. Every server gets their own public key, and your device keeps all the private keys for you, which is in effect the password manager. So you're completely set. And now the word goes back to Sarah for the final words. There you go.
Thank you. So yeah, with all these benefits that just summarized Jurjen for us, we have a lot of adoption today. So Google, I don't know if you noticed, but they did a very breakthrough communication on May, which announced that today you can connect to your own Google account using passkeys. Also, PayPal, Kayak, and Shopify already proposed this way of authentication to their users. And Microsoft is seriously considering to provide passkeys as the main authentication method for any future Windows 11 versions. Thanks to Google, we have large data of adoption of these passkeys today. So since it has been announced, people have started to use it, and we already have 100 million users. So with this data, we noticed that the duration of authentication using passkeys is twice less than passwords. So people authenticate much more faster using passkeys than trying to remember their password and actually type it out or copy paste it. There's also the success rate. So it's 4 times higher with passkeys, meaning that people don't have to bother to try to find their post-its or wrongly type their own passwords. What can go wrong with passkeys is maybe you didn't put your thumbnail as you are supposed to do to get the biometrics. Also, one awesome thing is that we already have it in Worldline. At least we have whatever is required for us to use passkeys. There is a FIDO server that is under certification, and it has been implemented by the team in Identity and Trusted Authentication. I don't know if there's ITA, no. Yeah, they exist in FS. They did all the description of their FIDO server and how this passwordless authentication works within our Worldline context. So they have participated in Windows Wars 2023. And the code of their project is dl-FIDO. So you can get all the details there on how actual clients want to use this FIDO server to have passwordless authentication. This will skip. Okay. Okay. So let's forget about security constraints. We know. Okay, so for the compatibility matrix, what I want to say here is that it's highly available on key tools that we have. It's still not yet available on Ubuntu. So what you have to understand is that today, as of now, passwords will not die. Okay, don't panic. Passkeys can be proposed as an additional solution to log in, but it shouldn't replace passwords yet. And you can also try it out by yourself. So there are 2 demo websites that have been developed by the FIDO Alliance. Nothing done on our side. Yeah, since we don't have internet here, you can scan it right now and test it out after the presentation, so you can see by yourself how it works. Normally, all smartphones are compatible and can handle the passkey demo website that we have here. And this website here also gives all the details on how to actually implement passkeys in your own web application. So there are several libraries that are already available for commonly used languages that we have in our company. So either Java or Ruby or whatever you want actually. And it's really awesome. So please go there, check it out by yourself, test it out, and tell us what you think about it. So that's it. Thank you.